Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Grace Minute. Thank you all for being with us today. I want to talk to you today about waiting on the Word of God. And what does that mean? We know the scriptures is inspired by God, but what do I mean by waiting on the Word of God? Some of you may know the story of Jesus and the disciples, and when they were on the sea, and Jesus came walking on the water beside their boat in Matthew chapter 14, verses 25 through 32. Uh, and I'll try to briefly go through that. It says in verse 25, it says, "Now in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went to them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying it was a ghost, and they cried out for fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, 'Be of good cheer. It is I, do not be afraid.' And Peter answered him and said, 'Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water.' And so he said, 'Come.' And when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. And so Peter takes a bold step. He is responding to what he believes. And he believes that it is Jesus who is the Word of God, according to Revelations 19:13. It says his name in Revelations 19:13. It says his name, which is referencing Jesus, is the Word of God. Jesus is the Word of God. So Peter hears the Word of God. Now it's important before you take a step and you call it a leap of faith. Make sure you're hearing the Word of God. You've heard from God. You've heard what to do. Peter heard from God. And here's the point about Peter hearing from God. He said, 'If it is you, command me to come to you.' What was going on? Peter needed the necessary faith that he could not produce to walk on the water, that only the Word of God could produce. And so Peter, believing what he heard, the Word of God producing the necessary faith to produce power that Peter could walk on the water. Now, in the end of that story, Peter stumbles and falls, and Jesus, in verse 31, Jesus says, 'Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?' Well, Peter, he stopped believing in what he heard. He stopped believing the Word of God. And when he stopped believing, he started doubting, going from believing and unbelief, and he sunk. And Jesus saved him. But the important thing is he had to wait. He needed to hear the Word of God before he went. And when he heard the Word of God, it produced the necessary faith to cause him to walk on water, something supernaturally that we can't do in our own ability, but we need the faith of Jesus Christ to accomplish that. I pray that this has blessed you and it has reminded you to wait on the Word of God. Wait till you hear from Him, so that you can have the necessary faith to do something supernatural. God bless you guys. Have an amazing day. Thank you guys for tuning in for another Grace Minute. Take care. We'll see you soon.